Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Sanchez in for Maya Trabulsi. The San Dieguito Union High School District has taken action after community outrage over a racy adult game show was filmed on the campus of Canyon Crest Academy. On Thursday, the district unanimously approved to have more oversight of its school foundations. As KPBS North County reporter Alexander Wynn says, the vote came after two controversies involving the foundation at CCA.
These foundations help with fundraising for student activities. Part of their work has included renting out school facilities. Last weekend, the Canyon Crest Academy Foundation rented out the school gym to a production company that filmed questionable content. That led to a special meeting for the school board where some speakers asked the entire foundation board to resign.
Parents and donors must elect the next foundation members to restore accountability.
Earlier this week, the foundation put out a statement saying it was appalled by the production and that they had not been told about its nature in advance. They apologized and say they are consulting with legal counsel. Board Trustee Rimga Viscanta says the incident highlights the need for district oversight.
Sometimes terrible events make manifest the cracks in our systems. It is our responsibility as trustees to acknowledge them, address them, and repair them, so they cannot widen into something more serious.
The district had already been working on a memorandum of understanding with all of its school foundations after another issue at Canyon Crest. In 2024, two students put out a report questioning the foundation's administrative fees. The MOU caps those fees at 10% and puts the district in charge of all facility rentals that are not school-related. It will go into effect July 1st, except at Canyon Crest. For them, it takes effect February 1st. In the newsroom, Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
The fight over a massive data center in the Imperial Valley is moving to the courts. KPBS Imperial Valley reporter Corey Suzuki says one city is suing to force an environmental review of the project.
The data center was proposed by a developer based in Huntington Beach. The facility would be almost 1 million square feet and would include its own power substation and a giant battery system. The data center would be located on unincorporated land, but it would be in the center of the small city of Imperial. Now, city officials there are suing to try and halt the project. Dennis Morita is Imperial's city manager.
We felt like it was very important that the public be made aware of the project. And largely driven by the magnitude of it.
The lawsuit was filed in Imperial County Superior Court late last week. It accuses county officials of violating state environmental laws and local codes by moving the project forward without certain permits, hearings, and an environmental review. Critics of the project celebrated the news. Francisco Leal lives right next to the planned data center site and has been organizing his neighbors to oppose it.
Well, that gives us hope, right? That we're not alone, the residents, and the city is doing something about it.
A spokesperson for the county did not respond to a request for comment. In a text, the developer of the project said he hadn't seen the suit yet, but argued the land was already set aside for industrial purposes. The project is part of a nationwide data center boom, as the major tech companies race to expand their AI capabilities, and more communities push back over the environmental costs. Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
Well, we have another quiet night for us. There will be some low clouds. Some of these clouds near the ocean off the Pacific, the marine layer has been really persistent, especially Orange County and north. But we've had our share of them, these low clouds and the morning fog here into southern parts of the coastline as well. But otherwise, beyond a cool night, down to 42 in Ramona, very warm daytime weather prevails for the whole weekend. We'll take a look at your complete forecast coming up.
Well, the U.S. economy has shifted from red hot to cool and now to somewhat frozen. That's how some key economists describe the latest findings from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Maribel Gonzalez spoke with several experts who break down what the data reveals about where the economy may be headed.
The Jobs Opening and Labor Turnover Survey, or JOLTS report, produces monthly and annual data on hires, layoffs, quits, and other labor metrics that provide an insight into the economy's health. Now, its release had been delayed by the historic federal shutdown until now.
It's a really good time to have a job. It's a really terrible time to not have one.
Data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows hiring in the U.S. continued to stall in September and October, while employees clung to their jobs with white knuckles. Experts say this is consistent with what is known as a low hire, low fire market.
The job market is not growing, and that means that people who are seeking new employment are finding longer search times, and those who are currently employed have their job security somewhat undermined.
August's JOLTS report, released on the eve of the government shutdown, showed job openings as a share of total employment remained at a 5-year low at 7.23 million. That number increased in September and then in October to 7.67 million.
Ever since 2022, when we saw an acceleration in inflation and interest rates, employers saw their costs to hire more headcount increase substantially. They're becoming more cautious about how many workers they're adding to their payroll.
But not all industries have stayed stagnant. AI is booming.
Occupations like computer scientists, mathematicians, they're still seeing quite a bit of demand.
While the overall labor market currently appears bleak, economists point to upcoming factors that could change that.
The tax cut takes effect early in 2026. There is going to be a lot of money flowing into bank accounts because of federal income tax refunds.
A clear snapshot of employment activity will be available the morning of December 16th when the BLS releases the November jobs report. Reporting in Los Angeles, I'm Maribel Gonzalez.
California's Attorney General joined over a dozen Democratic AGs in suing the Trump administration over a new fee for H-1B visas. The Trump administration announced the $100,000 fee in September, saying the visa program is overused. H-1B visas allow foreign workers to seek employment in professions that are considered to be more specialized. The suit alleges the fee is out of bounds of what is authorized by Congress for the program and that it will create financial burdens on employers trying to fill jobs. The Justice Department declined to comment. Being a foreign student in the United States has become more challenging as the Trump administration clamps down on legal immigration. KPBS video journalist Matthew Bowler says a new group of California and Baja universities is stepping up to assist students who look to study north of the border.
It's a quiet time of year at the campus of the Universidad Autónoma de Baja California, or UABC. It's the end of the semester, and most of the UABC's 28,000 students are done with their final exams. Valeria Buelna got her international relations bachelor's degree here, but after that, she had trouble finding anywhere in Baja California to go for guidance.
I finally went and I graduated from my master's. However, it was difficult. I made mistakes.
That's why she's excited to work for the new Education USA office on the campus of the UABC, helping students so they don't make the same mistakes she did. Education USA is a U.S. State Department network that helps foreign students study at American universities. Earlier this year, they reportedly furloughed most of their domestic staff. Even with these challenges, Education USA still has 400 offices worldwide, with 16 of them in Mexico. The latest office is on the campus of the UABC and serves both Baja California and Baja Sur students.
These are students who are important for the Cali-Baja region, all of them. And this is a very integrated region, has a lot of potential, so advising these students is fundamental for the center.
Education USA is just one part of a larger effort to increase student and professor mobility between the United States and Mexico. UC San Diego's Dr. Rafael Fernandez de Castro is director of the school's Center for U.S.-Mexican Studies.
We want more Mexicans coming into San Diego, into California, and also more Californians and Americans to coming into Mexico. It's both ways.
Fernandez de Castro leads the new Cali-Baja Higher Education Consortium, or CHEC. It's an international alliance between California and Baja universities, domestic leaders, educational and research organizations, with the common goal of increasing cross-border mobility of students and professors. The Association of International Educators reports international students contribute $6.3 billion to California's economy alone. Fernandez de Castro says this new consortium is a local California effort that combats the increasing polarization in Washington, D.C.
So we're taking agency. This is local. This is go local. There's turmoil in the capital. Let's go local, and that's why we're launching this consortium of higher education in Cali Baja.
Back at the UABC, Buelna looks forward to helping guide Mexican students through their American educational experience.
There is a Cali Baja region, it's interconnected, and it's going to support students from all over the peninsula. That's why this center is important to me, and I'm just really happy to be the advisor that is going to receive students.
Matthew Buller, KPBS News.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, new photos from Jeffrey Epstein's files are released, including some of President Trump. That's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
A huge milestone for Los Angeles as it tries to rebuild after the most damaging fire in its history. The first home in the Palisades area just got its certificate of occupancy, but there's one big catch. No one can move in, and it's not even for sale. Nick Watt explains why.
New house smell. That's kind of encouraging. Because within a year of the most destructive fire in the history of LA, the first certificate of occupancy was issued for a rebuild in the Palisades. Wow. A major priority, making sure all this doesn't burn down again. So that's not wood?
It's not. It's cement and fibers that hold it together. You'll also notice up in the eaves those little nozzles.
Yeah.
Will, in the case of a fire, douse the house with either water or a fire retardant. There are sprinklers that pop up on the roof and douse the roof like a lawn system. The other thing that we've added is the 6-foot aluminum fence around the entire perimeter.
He's COO of the developer that bought this lot last November to tear down, rebuild, and sell. Then it burned down. So they built this as a show home.
And so the people who are thinking, like, what do I do? Do I want to build again? Do I want to move? Do I want to sell my lot? It gives them an idea of what's possible out here.
4,000 square feet, 4 beds, 4.5 baths, walk-in his and hers closets. Did you ever think, you know what, we're going to move to Florida?
Never.
Our community was here. You know, our church, our friends, our kids' friends.
Susan and Jim User have asked these developers to build on the lot where they lived 28 years. They miss the view. When are they going to break ground?
Well, they've started grading. Our permits are already approved.
Some people, like the old neighbors, are selling up. Plenty others still fighting insurance companies for the money to rebuild or wrapped up in red tape.
When we talk to other people who are waiting for 1.5 years, 2 years, we feel like we're on the speedy train.
The city has streamlined the permitting process, near tripling the speed, says the mayor. Is it streamlined?
It's better. Yeah, it's certainly better than it was pre-fire.
But so much to rebuild. More than 9,000 structures were destroyed in the Eaton fire to the east, nearly 7,000 structures in the Palisades fire. 1,200 construction permits issued here so far. A shade over 340 projects actually underway in what was one of the most beautiful and tranquil corners of this city. Less tranquil right now. Still beautiful.
I think when people are displaced, they just want to get home, even if it's a bit of a construction zone. It's still home.
There's a lot of work going on, but there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before there's a real community here again.
Getting the supermarkets back and the drugstores and the library and all that, that's going to take years.
And back here south, National Cities, Airbnb, and other short-term rental operators will have to race for a permit next year if they want to keep up business. iNews Source reporter Crystal Nebla has more.
National City's new law regulating short-term rentals was originally created to prevent crime. Councilmember Jose Rodriguez said loud parties, violence, and human trafficking have gone out of control at some of these properties. To have an easier time tracking these rentals, the city is only allowing 45 applicants per council district.
There will inevitably be a race for some of these permits, which is something that individual property owners will have to make sure to stay on top of and apply quickly if they wish to operate a short-term rental property in National City.
The city plans to contract a vendor to regulate operators, and if the city finds operators are posting short-term rentals without a permit, violators could face heavy fines or banishment from the industry. Aside from the goal of preventing crime, the city expects to generate millions of dollars after the rules also allow for a hotel tax on short-term rentals. The new rules also require operators to either live in National City or within a quarter-mile of city limits. City officials expect to contract a vendor to begin regulating these short-term rentals next year. For KPBS, I'm News Source reporter Crystal Niebla.
iNews Source is an independently funded nonprofit partner of KPBS. This story is part of our Public Matters partnership. To find out more, go to kpbs.org/Public Matters. The Salvation Army needs your help to make Christmas special for about 400 families. They're collecting donations for kids of all ages at the Kroc Center. The organization says it is especially in need of toys for older children. Pre-selected families can register their children up to age 12. Next week, the parents will get to pick out the gifts.
We want them to be able to leave with a Santa sack full of toys for their children, along with gift wrap and bows and gift tags, as well as a food box, so that when they go home and they're wrapping all their toys for their family, they feel like they've had the Christmas experience.
You can donate toys or money to the Kroc Center or give online. We shared the call for toy donations from the Logan Heights Community Development Corporation, and you answered. The organization says it surpassed its goal of collecting 700 toys. Logan Heights CDC says it provided gifts for all 200 families who had registered for their event, along with an additional 50 families. Well, December is National Safe Toys and Gifts Month. Mandy Gaither has more on what to think about as you shop for presents this holiday season.
It's the season of giving, but experts say some gifts can come at a dangerous price.
Each parent has two eyes and a lot of things to do, and things happen quickly.
Dr. Maureen Ahmed with Cleveland Clinic says if you're buying gifts for young children, the first thing to stay away from is anything that has a button battery in it.
Kids can swallow those, and the parents don't really realize it.
If the gift must have a battery, Ahmed recommends only buying ones that need a screwdriver to be opened. Next, avoid toys using artificial intelligence.
Apparently, there's some toys that have AI features that will have conversations with the child, and this could obviously be very dangerous.
Almond says she also sees a lot of injuries from motorized vehicles like electric scooters or bikes, so she urges caution if these are on your child's list.
It is better, even though it's not flashy and doesn't seem super exciting, to get kids things that don't have all the bells and whistles, like books, puzzles, board games, things that make them use their muscles.
Finally, Almond says to avoid giving young children toys with small parts or anything that can break off.
A general rule of thumb is if the toy or a part of the toy that comes off fits through a toilet paper roll, that's too small for small children.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, the warm, dry weather pattern will continue for most of us. The only exception will be those low clouds in the morning, and they have been really persistent low clouds. The marine layer has been sticking around deep into the day, especially up in Orange County. But for most of us, the warm stretch continues. The ridge of high pressure holds. The storm track off the Pacific into at least the northwestern U.S. is shifting southward a bit into next week, but it's not going to shift far enough south to bring us any precipitation. So it's shifting, but it will remain to our north. Tonight, we're on the road down to 52 in San Diego with some intermittent clouds. Low clouds begin to lurk near the coastline, the beaches. Saturday, a very warm one out there. It's going to be a time with some snow up into the northern plains. There's the edge of the cold air mass way east of the divide. So we stay very warm in the inland areas and temperate for the coastline. Comfortable here along the coast with the refrigerator door open. The Pacific Ocean keeping temperatures in check. We have 67 degrees for your high 69 Oceanside after some morning clouds. San Diego 69 degrees. You step inland though, 78 in Ramona. Borrego Springs 78 degrees. Mount Laguna will be around 59. Warm and dry for Sunday. Not many changes here. Very cold weather. Winds across the plains. Warm, dry weather continues locally. And again, obviously will be warmest inland through Sunday here. You'll notice if you're traveling up into the San Joaquin Valley or the Central Valley this weekend, those low clouds have been stubborn there. Fog has kept that area cool, while the rest of the southwest has been very warm. Temperatures for some inland areas 5 to 15 degrees above historical averages. And again, we're going to stay dry. So the coastal forecast here, mid to upper 60s for the next few days. Warm on Tuesday. We hit 70 here for the coast, and pleasant cool afternoons and evenings with this setup. Inland areas a little warmer. In fact, temperatures will actually continue to rise for a time Monday into Tuesday. Tuesday may be the warmest day of the stretch, but we're going to hang out in the mid to upper 70s through the weekend and into Monday. Into the mountains we go with more elevation under our feet. We're going to stay a little cooler. Upper 50s back into the mid 50s. We may briefly spike around 60 on a warmer Tuesday. And for the desert locations, this is where we have our warmth most prevalent, hovering near 81 on Monday and Tuesday. Just a smidge cooler for Wednesday, but pleasant weather wins out for most of us. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
The weather, and here's another benefit of living in San Diego County, the ability to have a garden year-round. In December's Museum a Month, KPBS reporter John Carroll tells us why the San Diego Botanic Garden in Encinitas is so special, especially this time of year.
The words you could use to describe the San Diego Botanic Garden are endless. Some examples that come to mind are lush, stunning, breathtaking, especially when you take in the commanding views of the Pacific. That's the view that greets the garden's president and CEO, Ari Novi, when he arrives at work. Probably no surprise, then, that he loves his job.
Oh, my job is the best. I sign checks and hang around a garden.
The garden he hangs around has an interesting history. A woman named Ruth Larrabee donated about 20 acres to San Diego County in 1957. She developed it into a botanical paradise that was also a preserve for quail. It opened to the public in 1970 as Quail Park, but was renamed the San Diego Botanic Garden in 2009. It's now 37 acres, comprising more than 5,000 plant species and varieties, a biodiverse place in a county that can definitely say the same.
San Diego County is the most plant biodiverse county in the United States, meaning we have more plant species native to San Diego County than any other county in the United States.
That biodiversity is showcased over 29 themed gardens, including one that features the flora of the place we call home.
This is our California Gardenscapes garden, which is a really cool idea. It's native Southern California and into a little bit into adjacent Mexico plants. So we wanted people to be able to get inspired and go, oh, I like that plant. I want to try it in my yard, and actually say, hey, the plants in this zone you actually can more or less find somewhere in a landscape nursery to put in your yard.
Novi says a big part of the garden's mission is educating people, but not just about horticulture.
If we're not educating at every phase of life, then we're not doing our jobs. And so the programs here start at early childhood, and then every single age going all the way up to college, and then we begin the lifetime learning for the adults. I mean, you can come here and learn how to care for your orchids or do ikebana or bonsai. We have birding programs, butterfly identification programs, all kinds of horticulture. We are committed to the lifelong learning about anything and everything that's plant or plant adjacent.
As much as there is to learn about horticulture here, there is also just culture. Like here in the Native Plants, Native People Trails section of the garden, this is where we find a representation of what a Kumeyaay village would have looked like many, many years ago. From a domed structure, that's what they called it, to over here where women of the village would take acorns gathered from around the area and grind them into flour.
What are the indigenous people there doing, who've been there for thousands of years? How have they managed that land? That is critically important, and they have always been the people who have discovered all of the important human usages for the plants, and oftentimes made sure that more of those useful plants are prevalent or around.
From the serious to the sublime. This time of year, when the sun goes down, the garden comes alight and alive with color. It's the 4th annual Lightscape, what Novi calls a dazzling 1-mile-long trail of color and light throughout the garden.
And so we heard about this wonderful program at Chicago Botanic Garden, but we thought, wow, like we really love the way this holiday light show is for a botanic garden. It is highlighting the plants. Many of the artists who design the exhibits, they study the plants, where those exhibits are going to be, and the exhibits live on the plants, but in a respectful manner, in a safe manner, for the integrity of the plants. So we thought, oh, this is great. We want to have a holiday light show that's elevated, but that considers the garden an equal co-star together with the visions of the artists.
Lightscape takes about an hour to an hour and a half to experience, and there is a separate charge in addition to the regular admission. It runs through January 4th. The money raised from Lightscape goes to support the garden. Novi says the years of COVID aside, the garden has been on a trajectory of growth lately, and he says that will continue. 55 years later, this beautiful corner of the county is going strong with big plans for the future.
The board of the garden has approved kind of a 20-year master site plan, which in today's dollars includes $100 million worth of improvements to the garden.
Those improvements will include new buildings and new gardens, but some things won't change, including that view of the Pacific in a place where you can reconnect with nature and find refreshment and renewal in a part of San Diego County you could call a slice of paradise. John Carroll, KPBS News.
And it is beautiful there. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Sanchez. Have a great weekend.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.